Good afternoon, everyone.
Yes.
We will just start the session very soon. Our attendees are joining. We'll just wait for a half a minute more to start the session. A very warm welcome to all of you. Myself, Dr. Rakesh Agrawal, Secretary General, Risk Management Association of India, and Editor, Insurance Times. Today, the topic is the strike of pandemic, impact of reinsurance market and insurance treaties. So, according to some reports, the unprecedented changes and challenges created by the ongoing pandemic has resulted in an uncertain outlook for insurers and reinsurers. The potential impact is still unpredictable, but it is for sure it will definitely hit the industry hard. So in today's panel discussion, we have well-known experts from the reinsurance industry who will share their views. So before I hand over the session to our today's moderator, Mr. Prateek Priyadarshi, Assistant Professor BIMTech, let me briefly introduce our organization. Basically, Risk Management Association of India is an NGO engaged in promotion of risk management discipline in India. RMAI has taken this onerous responsibility to create a platform for risk professionals, insurance professionals, corporates, bankers to exchange latest news, resources relating to risk management, encourage research and development, provide certification to members, and online courses on risk management. Here is a list of our list of council members. We have experts from the industry. And we also have an advisory council where people from different walks of life and having a lot of experience are in our advisory board. Again, we have a number of industry experts who are having expertise in their respective fields. So they are also associated with us. These are the few category of membership that we have. Anybody can enroll as a member in different capacities. So what we have done, we have created a risk management resource center in our website, rmaindia.org. So there we are having number of videos, research reports, then risk and sample risk inspection reports. And we also have tied up with a few international institutes. So there also our members can undergo various courses on risk management and other related areas. Last year, we organized this seminar on risk management, which was quite successful at Mumbai. So this year again, we plan to have one seminar, but maybe it will be little delayed due to COVID. Here are the few pics from the seminar. And we publish this quarterly bulletin, risk management quarterly bulletin, which covers all latest updates about risk management developments in India and abroad. And beside this, we are into education field for now more than 40 years. So the Insurance Times journal is being published by us, has entered into 40th year of publication in 2020. And besides this, we also have a knowledge portal on insurancebimabazar.com. So you can always visit this portal for update news. And we have one on banking. It is bankingfinance.in. It covers all news related to banking and financial sector. And we have one site, sashipublications.com, where we offer a number of books on insurance and related areas. So for more details, you can visit our website also, rmaindia.org, where you can get all the details. So without taking much of your time, I will now hand over the session to Mr. Prateek, so who will be moderating the session. And I also invite all other speakers to join the panel. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rakesh ji. Before we begin the session, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this edition of discussion of the strike of the pandemic, impact on reinsurance market and reinsurance treaties. Let me just introduce the panel, which I am privileged to moderate right now. To begin with, right hand lower corner, you see Mr. K.K. Mishra ji. Mr. K.K. Mishra ji is an old insurance veteran. He is basically an engineer by education, but 1979 batch of direct recruit officer from the GIC. His last assignment in the insurance sector, apart from the fact that he was also with the public sector companies, he retired as MD and CEO of Tata AIG General Insurance Company. Presently, he's an independent director with one of the insurance companies. He's also a mentor. He handles claims in advisory capacity, and he is also an advisory council member of the RMAI. Sir, for the benefit of my viewers, if you could just raise your hand, please, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Next to him is Balaji Tyagarajan. Balaji Tyagarajan is a United India recruit of 1918 batch. Incidentally, he is my batchmate as well. So privileged to have you here with us, Balaji. He is currently the DGM with GIC Re. And the reason why I was insisting on him joining the panel was because he is also the CEO designate for the GIC Re office in the Middle East. Thank you for being with us, Balaji. In the top right-hand corner, I have Mr. KL Naik. Honestly speaking, I don't think I should introduce Mr. KL Naik to you because he is what we call a reinsurance guru to all of us. His N number of books on reinsurance, his activities in the RMAI, incidentally, he's also a member of the RMAI. And apart from the fact that he's involved into the treaties of reinsurance for countries outside the Indian boundaries. So thank you very much for joining us at this forum, sir. Last but not the least, Vivek. It was difficult to get Vivek for this forum, but you may call that I tricked him into joining us. That's a different thing altogether. Now, Vivek Naik is basically the principal officer at Synergy Reinsurance Specialist Labuan Limited. Difficult to get hold of him, and thank God for this lockdown that we could manage to get him here on this panel. Thank you very much for being with us at this stage, panelists. What we will do is that I'm also inviting our viewers and listeners to post their questions, which I would be taking it up with you from time to time. To begin with, let me just put the record straight. By virtue of its nature, the insurance and the reinsurance industry are prepared and ready to take on the challenges of the major losses, including pandemics. As Mr. K.K. Mishra ji was talking a few minutes back, in 2003, when we had the last pandemic, SARS, Wimbledon had started taking the pandemic cover since then. For 17 years, they paid an insurance premium of about $2 million. And look what it finally got them. This year, because of the pandemic, Wimbledon has been cancelled, and an outgo of $141 million has been, or I'm told that is what it will be paid to them. Now, as he was rightly saying, the fact remains that the cover for pandemic was always there. We in India had not taken it. Sir, Mr. K.K. Mishra ji, sir, even before we start off, sir, I just wanted to ask you a very simple question, sir. What do you think is India's stand vis-a-vis this pandemic when it comes to the regulator's role, sir?
Hello, Prateek.
Sir.
Yeah. Repeat the question.
Sir, I just wanted to understand the role of the regulator vis-a-vis the impact of pandemic in India, sir?
Good question. But let me bring you to first thing why insurance companies take reinsurance.
Sir.
Reinsurance is nothing but the transfer of risk from the insurance companies, and the fundamental of that is the risk management. So when you go into risk management, and since the platform of RMI, I must compliment Mr. Rakesh for having this. The first thing, which company thought about as a risk factor pandemic? So your question about regulator is at the time, but regulator, at least the Indian regulator, has been very proactive. They have already issued circulars regarding COVID and pandemic situation at this stage. In fact, the life insurance companies have already responded to that, and LIC has settled the claim. In fact, AIA, the other company, Tata AIA company, they have also made it very clear that the COVID is covered. So coming back to your question, that role of the regulator has already flagged it, and they asked the insurance companies to come back with it. My only point is, as an engineer, I always remember that public health was one of the subjects we had. And my teacher always used to say the pandemic is one thing which is, in terms of Praveen, it's a grey rhino. So we know that that's there, but we never cared for that. And that's the problem with the insurance industry, in India at least. Having the cover available in the London market, we never thought about it. And we never thought that it will hit India so badly. So I give full credit to the regulator that they have upped their antenna, and they are very, very conversant with the present issue, and I respect their guidelines.
Thank you, sir. In fact, you are quite right, sir. The response of the insurers and the reinsurers has been exemplary and has had a notable effect on the global economy as such, sir.
Yeah.
Of course, a number of challenges such as shortcomings in technology, systems, and processes will be exposed, because now that we have started working from home, and most of the insurers and the reinsurers handle huge volumes of customer inquiries and claims. Sir, but I guess that is where we distinguish between men and boys, so as to say. And that brings me to the next important question, which I will field it to Balaji, sir. And sir, I will come back to you later with more queries on what we just talked about. So,
sure.
Balaji, tell me something. Is it a fact that the government of India is thinking about a pandemic pool?
I think we are unable to hear.
Balaji, we can't hear you. You have to switch on the mic. I think there is some issue. Should have been there. Have you switched on your mic, Balaji?
On the screen.
No, Balaji, we are still not getting through. I think, have you switched on the mic on your screen, please? Some issue somehow. Okay, then in that situation, I think we will come back to you, Balaji. Sir, I'll rephrase my question and again go back to Mr. KL Naik, sir. Sir, the major challenge that the reinsurers face in a situation like this is the payment of claims. Now, I understand that BI claims is a bone of contention as far as the RI claims are there. So would you like to comment on that, sir?
Yes, the nature of pandemic claims involve a number of small losses giving an annual aggregate which is a big loss ratio. Normally, the proportional reinsurance treaties may not have bigger sessions of risk to the treaties, but most of the risk may remain well within retentions, and retentions are also protected by event excess loss treaties, which cannot be defined in case of coronavirus claims, pandemic claims. Therefore, in my view, stop loss excess loss treaty program or aggregate loss excess loss treaty program is the better solution. And sir, you were just asking Mr. Balaji about a market pool. Perhaps creation of a market pool is the best remedy because of certain reasons. After this pandemic, the international reinsurance capacity to protect coronavirus like viral claims will reduce substantially. Reinsurance treaties are renewed with exclusions specifying COVID-19 or coronavirus risk exclusions. Therefore, reinsurers of the world, particularly Munich Re, Lloyd's, have specified that when it is specific exclusions, it is not available as a reinsurance recovery. And therefore, there is a situation where the insuring public wants a cover. Insurers cannot give a cover, which is not protected by the reinsurer. So, in the scenario, the best solution is for the regulators to create a market pool, and it may be managed by a national reinsurer like other market pools which are there in India.
Thank you, sir. Balaji, can we get back to you? No. Still, we are not getting through. I think probably, why don't you rejoin into the discussion so that we can just have a look again. In the meantime, Vivek, you see, the concern that we have is that many countries, probably in the SAARC region, they were not well prepared to handle a pandemic like this, in spite of the fact that we've had pandemics in the past also, the latest one being 2003 SARS. How do you see them reacting to this pandemic?
I think the awareness has been great, and countries like India, which are normally behind the rest of the world, are leading in this case particularly, because we have taken quite a advanced step of locking down the cities, and which has curtailed the exposure substantially. So I would think that we have probably learned better this time from the others' mistakes, and rectified it better than our counterparts in Europe.
Sorry, Mr. Nayak, you wanted to say something, sir?
Yes, I would like to add some few observations.
Sir.
That according to the latest position of climate, this COVID-19 coronavirus claims, pandemic claims,
Sir.
in the SAARC region, India is leading with a confirmed cases 13,430 and confirmed deaths 448. But Nepal is only 16 cases, 0 losses. Bangladesh 1,572 cases and 60 claims. Sri Lanka 238 cases and 7 claims. Maldives 25 cases and 0 cases, 0 days. But recently some incidents of deaths are reported. Afghanistan has got 840 cases and 30 days. Bhutan has got 5 cases and 0 days. Thus, except India and Bangladesh, others are with a reasonably low exposure. Pakistan's exposure is beyond our area of discussion. But Mr. Prime Minister Modi's suggestion to create a regional pool, a regional fund to meet the liabilities, has got some responses from more major members, and perhaps Indian market reinsurer can lead the protection for the South Asian countries.
Fair enough, sir. Sir, I would now direct my question to Mr. K.K. Mishra ji, sir. Sir, remember we were talking about capital adequacy subject, sir. Sir, in the context of Indian reinsurers, sir, or specifically GIC Re, or the reinsurers with whom we have been interacting, sir. Sir, where do you see this issue of capital adequacy and solvency margin going, sir?
Good question. There was a circular from the IRD on 28th March. They very clearly mentioned the liability and solvency margin on GI business is a financial arrangement. So they did not consider it as a reinsurable item. And they have directed all the boards to do away with it. And if they have a long-term policy, they have to place it to the board again and taper it off. The problem is, try to understand that general insurance is also a very capital intensive business. If you grow faster, you have to have your capital. Now, particularly for the health companies, they're growing at 40%, 35%. For the investors, after this COVID, where they have money to invest. So, there is a dichotomy right now, but since the IRD has very clearly said that liability and solvency margin GI business is not covered under reinsurance, and in any case GIC was not very keen on that, so there were the other reinsurers who were doing about it. So that's a gone case. So each company has to generate their capital for the next year growth. Sad part is that if you look at March figures, a company like Apollo, that is now HDFC GI and as well as Star, they also did not grow as fast as the smaller companies in the health company. Overall, there has been a good growth in the health, but my worry is that the capital will become a big albatross on the neck of the insurance company going forward if they don't have the right kind of capital. So again, I only wish that next year things will be much better, and the investors and the capital, the promoters also have sufficient money to invest more on this. That's all I can say. Right now, the liability and solvency margin is a no case.
Sir, please forgive my inquisitiveness, but do you think this could lead to more mergers and acquisitions for the insurance companies?
It's very early to comment about this, because IRDA, one thing is very clear that they said when the GI company asked about some leeway on the solvency, they also said no, on solvency they will not give any leeway. They have to be sufficiently. So IRDA is very clear that you have to have your solvency. Merger and acquisition, there are always some companies in the market to be sold. Let's wait that who has the money.
Fair enough, sir. Balaji, can you hear us? No. Still, I do not know. We somehow seem to have lost the audio touch with him. Right. I'll direct my next question to Vivek. Vivek, tell me something. Which do you think would be the prominent lines of business that would be the most affected by this pandemic?
I think travel tourism will be the primary and foremost thing which will be very much down, because for next 3 years people will not be thinking of traveling abroad, and travel and tourism industry will be affected very badly. Moreover, the production also will be going down, because the luxury item usage will be going down, I suppose, and that will lead to some slowing down of the economy, which is already there, and that will continue for next 3 years, I think.
How do you see the claims hitting the property lines of business?
Severely, in fact.
Sorry, I didn't get you. Vivek.
Property lines claims will be affected severely.
Sir, Mr. Naik, sir, you wanted to say something?
Yes, I wanted to say like this, that because of the economic lockdown impacting the industrial outputs, loss of profit policies in force without related to the material damage are generally not covered. And these big losses cannot be recovered even from proportional treaties, and even net account excess loss protections cannot give the recovery. Therefore, the main problem is the appetite of the insurance big industries is to get cover, but insurers may have limitations because of reinsurance protections with restrictive and prohibitive coverage. Exclusions of COVID-19 is a must according to Lloyd's, Munich Re, and other global reinsurers. And therefore, reinsurers generally will not cover this. So the problem is, again, regulator taking some steps. And I will also talk later on certain legal issues raised in US market.
In fact, sir, you used two very specific terms. You talked about the risk appetite and the tolerances of the company, sir. Sir,
Yeah.
how do you see this going forward? What would be the impact on the industry as such, sir?
The coverage of pandemic claims or pandemic risk, coronavirus risk, is difficult because there will be a standard exclusion applied by the insurers internationally, and therefore there is only a market approach or a market pooling approach will be a solution, a better solution, according to me.
Sir, thank you, sir. Just to remind the
In fact, there is one clause in my LMA, Lloyd's Market Association, 5391, which is excluding coronavirus claims.
okay.
And that has been inserted to indicate Lloyd's liability policies that issue.
Fair enough, not an issue. Sir, please, sir.
I entirely agree what the Lloyd's market is saying and what the Munich and the Swiss Re is saying.
Sure.
India is a different market.
Sure.
I'm more concerned with the suppliers extension, which will come into question. And if somebody goes to court,
That will be
there
a
will be,
situation.
I'm not saying that technically what Mr. Nayak said is perfectly right. And the Chubb CEO also came with a statement that even against the US, he said very clearly that he will fight it out.
Absolutely.
What I'm trying to say that Indian government and the regulator has a different perspective about the consumers, which is right one way. So I'm just waiting for next 6 months how the legal scenario will change in the Indian market. I'm not saying I'm not a judge, I'm not a arbitrator. So I will wait for that development in next 6 months. That's all I'm saying.
Fair enough, sir. In fact, just to remind the viewers and listeners, in case you have any queries, you can use the chat option to put in your questions, and we'll ensure that those questions reach the panelists. Going forward, Balaji, can we have you back on the panel, please? Balaji? No, sorry, still not available. Right, not an issue at all. Vivek, my next question, because you've been involved with offshore treaties and things like this. Tell me something. You have these direct claims in life and A&H, and there are certain indirect claims when it comes to general liability and D&Os. And of course, then there are the unexpected claims like the pandemics. Now, how do we handle these sources of claims with specific reference to pandemic claims?
As basically at this point of time, there have not been any major rules coming out from these classes. But as you rightly said, they will eventually come out, and these liability claims are going to get affecting the market regularly. Handling them will be a very difficult task, because if the government directs the insurance companies to compulsorily cover them, they will not be able to refuse the cover. At the same time, probably they may not have reinsurance support internationally available. So eventually, as Mr. Naik said, unless the pool is created by the regulator or the government authorities, there will not be any protection available for the insurers.
Point noted, sir. But tell me something. The entire economy has been affected by this pandemic situation. Can you tell me, vis-a-vis insurance, how are the other sectors of the economy affected? I mean, where do you see insurance standing out in the entire economic scenario?
I didn't get the question.
You see, the pandemic has affected the entire economy as such.
Agree. Yes.
There are various sections of the economy, for instance,
Different
travel
industries and all that.
yeah. So from that perspective, how do you see the situation of insurance being affected vis-a-vis the other sectors of the economy?
It all depends on from where you are seeing this problem. If I see myself from Indian perspective, I look at it as a big opportunity coming up for Indians, because there will be opportunity for India to manufacture things which so far were given to China by the companies from Europe and the USA. So those manufacturing opportunities probably will create a lot of employment, and also the GDP will rise substantially in the next coming years.
Mr. Naik, sir, you wanted to add something to that, sir?
Yes, I look at insurance and reinsurance as parameters of economic developments in an economy.
Sure.
And without the support of insurers and reinsurance, economic development gets stagnated. Therefore, there is a greater amount of flexibility in the stance taken by insurers and reinsurers. And in such critical situations, instead of strictly going according to terms of the technical terms of the coverage, insurers and reinsurers remain flexible. And there are some instances in African market like Kenya, where presidential elections with major riots took place, which were not covered. So the entire industry, with 5 African reinsurers in Kenya and 39 insurers, they arrived at an ex gratia settlement of claims. And therefore, under exceptional situations like doubtful coverage of pandemic claims, insurers and reinsurers will not remain inactive. They will be flexible, and they will be ready to give as gratia settlements. That is my view.
That's fantastic, sir. In fact, Vivek, I'll just draw your attention to one of our viewers, Mr. KV Prashad, who's asked a question. And the question is, will LMA 5393 and LMA 5396, of course, relating to London markets as such, will they create a challenge for the past covers and future covers?
In fact, a majority of the covers are excluding pandemic coverage. But these clauses are specifically excluded to make the position of the reinsurers very clear about it.
Sir, you wanted to say something?
Yes.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Regulators sometimes take steps for retroactive involvement of the underwriters in a risk. So there may be a late revelation of claims after the occurrence. So similarly, to use a technical term, the incurred but not reported claims of coronavirus claims, pandemic claims, may also create a situation where retroactive coverage is required. And this scenario cannot be ruled out. So insurers should be made liable retroactively.
But that will be payable by the reinsurers, but may not be recoverable from reinsurers.
No, in fact, that brings me to the next question, which Mr. David James has posted for us. He says,
Hello.
post COVID-19, do you expect premiums to harden and escalate exponentially?
Hello.
Vivek?
Is that a question for me?
Yeah.
The first London market has been hardening a lot, and the major aviation renewals which were taken up in the first quarter have seen almost around 25% rise in the premium,
Mhm.
and that is going to continue as far as the market exports are expecting it to do.
So, sorry. So you feel that the probability of market hardening is less.
Hello.
Hello.
Balaji, can we? Are you back?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank God that you are back.
Oh, really?
In fact,
Okay.
Mr. Nayak, sir, I'll just hold you at that point, sir. And I wanted to ask a question specific to Balaji.
Okay.
We have been talking about the creation of a pandemic fund for the country as such.
Yeah.
We have a TP pool and terrorism pool. In such a situation, honestly speaking, since this is still under discussion, one doesn't know which way things will move. But more importantly, and more operational issue, how have you managed the 1-4 treaties?
Yeah, thank you. Sorry for the technical glitch, but apparently there's nothing wrong at my end. I don't know what happened. Probably the connectivity, yeah. Okay, thank you. About the 1-4 treaties, especially when you ask in the context of the pandemic, as you know, the negotiations on the 1-4 renewals start very early, right? Sometime in January, in fact. That's how early it starts. And by the time the shutdown, the lockdown was announced and got known, that most of the negotiations were already done and dusted, like it was almost ready. And it was only the last stretch that a little tidying up activities were required, like signing slips and all that. So there was really no discussion about anything related with this pandemic at that stage. But around that time, towards the end of March, there were already some LMA wordings circulating in the market with a new pandemic exclusion clause. It's not that it was covered earlier, it was always an exclusion, but these wordings were a little more elaborate, probably trying to clarify some point. So we also worked on our own version, GI series own version of this exclusion clause. And we came up with our own wordings as well, which we incorporated into the treaties which we were leading. So that was one major, if at all I can mention that as change for the 1-4 renewals.
Going forward, do you think this will have an impact on your renewal arrangements that you already have treaties right now with?
It depends on the size of the claims, I think. I do not see this to be a major worry for, if you talk especially about property reinsurance, it doesn't seem to be a major worry for the property claims. So if there are no claims arising out of this incident, then it will not really impact even the subsequent renewals.
Fair enough. Thank you, sir. Mr. K.K. Mishra, sir. Sir, there's this question from one of our viewers, Shilpi. She wants to understand that some of the insurance companies are coming with COVID-specific policies, health policies. Sir, do you think it's taking advantage of the situation, or is it the need of the time?
See, you should also appreciate that at the end of the day, as Mr. Nayak said, that insurance is a barometer of economy also. So insurance companies are trying to live up to the expectation of the insurance, insured people. Now, saying that this is, when you want to sell something, there can be always two views. But when you're selling a policy, there are claims to come. So there is always a question of frequency and severity. So naturally, I'm not read the covers which have been granted by the insurance companies. They are talking about it, and I already also wanted it, but I have not been able to see any single policy as on date from general insurance companies. Life insurance companies are already paying the claims under death
COVID-19.
because of COVID also.
Yeah.
So that's
Very
not the
true.
problem. General insurance
Very
company, I don't know about the premium rate, I don't know about the coverage, but see, you have to think about it. A pandemic has to be a cover which to be arranged in the Indian market. So I'm okay with that. By the way, I could not listen much to what Balaji was saying, so I may not comment about the reinsurance what he said. So that's all I can say.
I was only talking about the property
Can you hear me?
treaties. Yeah, I can hear you.
Sir, loud and clear, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
And one more thing I'll tell you that Vivek did say about the liability claims. Already US has class action against insurance companies on D&O policy. There are already cases have been filed. Say, US market is litigant market, so there are already class actions have been filed against the directors, asking them or pointing them they did not think about this risk. So that's another long drawn battle in the US market.
In fact, sir, one of our viewers has just posted a question, and this is for, I think, Mr. KL Naik, because we were talking about business interruption claims, sir. So Mr. GV Subhashri Nigama would like to understand, sir, whether the business interruptions claims will be triggered because of this pandemic, and in future, will the same be covered?
It is a very good question. Particularly business interruption claims arising out of economic lockdown of industries will not be covered because that is not provided. Similar situation had arisen in July 2011 when Thai floods resulted into business interruption losses because of water logging in major areas of Bangkok city. Workers could not go to the factory. So inaccessibility to working place was the cause of PI. So that was also not available. But in case of US market, this is a major issue which is addressed by the government. And I will elaborate it when the specific question is put to me.
Right, sir, not an issue. In fact, good to see Rohit Ranjan also here. Sir, he has a question, and I think I'll ask this question to Vivek. Rohit wants to understand as to how are the insurers treating this pandemic? Is it a single event or per loss of business?
That is what is the big question, because we have had discussions internally as well that there are hours clause applicable, and if that is taken into account, like the Thai food as Mr. Naik spoke about, this will not be covered under the policy, and that is why at the time of Thai blood claims, the hour clause was amended to give the coverage for the flood losses, and that sort of amendment should be brought to give advantage to the claimants.
In fact, I just have an update from one of our viewers in Nepal. Chanki Chetri has communicated to us that Nepal has created the pool for COVID-19, and from tomorrow, I assume tomorrow means Sunday, I guess, they are going to launch the policy in presence of the chairman of the regulatory body that they have in Nepal. That's wonderful news coming in from Nepal. I'd draw your attention to the next question that we have from Mr. Anabil Bhattacharya, sir. And I'll field this question to Balaji. You've been shying away from the mic for quite some time. Now, in this records that are declared, is it accepted as utmost good faith, free from jugglery, as we observed some concealment of facts in case of USA when it complained against China about this? Concealment of facts.
Difficult question, I think. No.
Or maybe I should explain it a little bit further.
Can you explain that? Yeah.
No, he wants to understand
Okay.
whether the declaration of the records should it be accepted on utmost good faith, or can you say that it's a case of concealment of facts in case of as in case USA has charged China?
Across any line of business?
Yeah, naturally.
No. I wouldn't be exactly be able to qualify this, but I would say no.
Okay, fair enough. Let's move on to the next question. And Kail Naik sir, this question is from Mr. Vipul Jain. Once again, dealing with PI claims. I think viewers and listeners have understood that since you are there for the BI claims, so all the questions relating to BI claims will be being put in right now as such. Sir, Mr. Vipul Jain's question is that in case of BI claims, what is the role of the insurance surveyors?
What is the role of surveyors?
Sir.
Yes, sir. Surveyors, in normal cases of business interruption, related to the material damage, look at the material damage to be made good during shortest period of indemnity period which is provided. But in case of coronavirus claims, indemnity period is not there. So it is a business interruption loss without any relation to material damage. So indemnity period question doesn't come. But as US regulators have provided, the state emergency period of industrial lockdown is the period during which the coverage is to be given without exclusions. And that is the situation in USA now. But in our country, it is specifically excluded if it is arising out of economic lockdown.
Fair enough. In fact, Balaji, since you are the CEO designate of the Middle East office of the GIC Re, how has been the reaction of the Middle East countries towards the claims coming in from because of this pandemic? Any idea on that?
I try to get some information on the health side, especially not really about the property. On the health side, the GIC's office in Dubai doesn't have much of exposure on the health treaties. But there have been some claim intimations to the insurance company, which I think the insurance companies have not admitted. I don't know whether this information is fully right, but because it's about, most of the claims are about testing, expenses incurred for testing. Yeah. So whether the patient was indeed having any symptoms or did he voluntarily go. But otherwise, it's still early days to see what impact it would have on the health portfolio. But in any case, the GIC's branch in Dubai doesn't have much exposure on health.
No,
it's not much. That's not much.
In fact, I have the next question from Mr. Hemant Gulati. And he says that he has seen product brochures wherein Munich Re was covering some industries without any asset damage peril operation. Will such a product cover COVID-19 claims? Mr. Naik, please, sir.
In our market, in Indian market context, such covers are not there. But Munich Re gives specifically such coverage for smaller limits, according to me, where they have a greater chance to cover major aspects of the liability facultatively rather than by automatic treaty capacity. But instead of denying the cover, they are giving limited capacity so that it can cover also treaty and facultative. But this is an exceptional stand taken by the global reinsurer Munich Re, because Munich Re have given a statement of policy after these coronavirus claims that they remain committed and liable where there is no specific exclusion. But at the time of renewal, they will see that such exclusions are specifically given and covers are not made available. That is what they have said in their policy statement. So even if such facilities are there in normal period, may not be available in pandemic period, according to me.
Fair enough. K.K. Mishra, sir. Sir, there's this discussion that was going on a few days back about the role of the rating agencies during this pandemic for the reinsurance and reinsurance companies. Sir, can you just explain as to what exactly is the role of these rating agencies here, sir?
See, again, I have my two divergent view on this. See, rating agencies are there to continue in the market because at the end of the day, the share market looks at the rating of a company. Like New India went for share market or public issue, or GIC went for that. They had to have a qualification from the rating agencies. Rating agencies goes with your balance sheet. So I'm just trying to make it very rudimentary in the sense that rating agencies have their responsibility to rate a company properly. That's all I can say right now. But if you look at international market, including 2008 collapse or abolition market or any other market in the world over, at the end of the day, the rating agencies also go by the details submitted by a company. There are cases in India also, big companies who have been rated A plus, but when a catastrophe came or when something went wrong with them, they were not in a position to stand with. Insurance companies so far, because of the solvency issues and so far the regulators eagle eye, Indian market is, as on date, is pretty sure, pretty confident, even if the rating agencies are rated only very few companies as on date. That's all I can say. And say, whether we like it or don't like it, rating agencies will continue to rate the companies internationally also, and that will be a part of the financial market.
Sir, thank you very much.
You cannot do away with that.
In fact, sir, I wanted to emphasize on the part when you said that rudimentary information, because some of our students are also logged in right now, sir. In fact, I have a question from one of our students, Ritvik Srivastava, who's just passed out. And he says that most of the CEOs of insurance companies such as Allianz and Chubbs, they feel that the claims due to COVID-19 in VI policies is unconstitutional. And even then, most of the countries such as Pennsylvania and the US states have enrolled the bill for the same, that the claims have to be paid. So where do you think you should stand? And I'll address this question to Mr. Nayak, please, sir.
If you look at American states of federal states of USA, retroactive cover is a problem, and there they call it unconstitutional to cover after a gap of more than 1.5 months. But regulators do not agree with such interpretations, and regulators therefore have come out with a federal reinsurance protection program, so that such risks cannot be denied. If they are denied by the reinsurers, the government wants to pay the claim to the policy and satisfy the interest of the policyholders, protect the interest of the policyholders.
Right. Thank you, sir. In fact, we have an opinion coming in from Mr. David James on the question of M&A that we were talking about. And he feels that as a former MD of R13K Reinsurance of the Third Millennium in Singapore and London, he feels that insurance and RI companies are severely bloated and that they carry huge, and when I say huge, I mean huge, sir, leakage cost. And M&A is more viable only if technology is 100% adopted. Sir, Mr. James, we have ensured that your opinion is communicated to the panel. And now I'll move to the next question, which Mr. Mohit Malhotra has posted to us. And this is more to do with, I think, life insurance as such. Probably I'll draw Balaji's attention on this. He says, what will be the future of term insurance after rising in premium and insurance industry post this lockdown?
Yeah. Pratik, should I answer? Yeah, sorry. Yeah. On the life reinsurance side, we do not have anything that is very specific to COVID products, right? It's part of the life policies. It's not excluded. Like, a death is a death. Any death claim is paid under the life policies as well as under the treaties. So if it depends on the results of the treaties, the reinsurance arrangements. So if they turn adverse in the days to come, which probably may not, then the premiums may not change much. But on the direct side, on the life insurance side, there may be an increase.
Oh, fair enough. And in fact, Mr. Naik, you wanted to add to this, sir?
Yes, I would like to add some more points to Mr. Balaji's observations. The life premium globally is $3,000 billion, and reinsurance premium outgo is less than 2%. So the international reinsurance premium income is 60 billion in the year 2018, and that does not increase substantially in these last 4 or 5 years. And therefore, with this premium base also, life reinsurers are very profitable because of maturity reserves given by them, and moreover, basically, life insurance and reinsurance is a fund transfer technology along with risk transfer. And a point comes when risks are not there and funds are transferred. And therefore, financially, they remain sound.
Yeah.
Not an issue. In fact, I'm thankful to one of our ex-students, Nikhil Khurana, who's again come up with a question. In fact, Mr. Mahmoodul Haq is much appreciative of the fact that we were in the session, Sushil Wagar. But sir, I have a question from Vikram Shekhawat, and he says that, is there a possibility of insurers treating the situation as act of God and invoking the force majeure clause? And I'll direct this question to Vivek.
I didn't get you, sir.
The question is that, is there a possibility of insurers treating this situation as act of God and invoking the force majeure clause?
I personally don't think that will be possible, because the insurance companies have not charged premium for this exposure. So when they have not charged premium, they will not like to give that coverage unless they are forced by the government imposition to pay the claims. So unless you are willing yourself to pay or give coverage to the client for what you have not charged premium to him, it will be very difficult scenario for insurance companies to pay those claims.
Fair enough, sir. Mr. Naik, sir, you wanted to add something?
Yes, I would like to add that acts of God perils generate natural catastrophes where reinsurers can apply hours clauses to define events of loss.
Okay.
In case of coronavirus claims, this scenario is not there. It is a man-made catastrophe, like terrorism. It is a political terrorism in a way.
In fact, sir, when you say this, I'm reminded of that joke, when man met God and, they exclaimed, "Oh, my creator," So man created God and God created man. In that situation, sir, this act of God could also be act of man. But doesn't know where we will go forward with this. Sir, but sticking on to this question, Fatima has asked a question, sir. She says, is there any possibility that the reinsurance support that we are getting may come to an end?
I would like to mention that reinsurers do not want to continue support with inclusion of such risks. After the incidence of this pandemic losses, they insist for restrictive and prohibitive coverage at the time of renewal of all reinsurance programs. And therefore, such possibility is not there.
Fair enough, sir. In fact, now I'll direct the question of Rohit Singh to KK Mishra, sir. Sir, he's talked specifically about after the lockdown is relaxed and an employee while attending the office contacts COVID-19, sir, will this lead to a liability claim to the employer failing to provide a safe and secure work environment?
To say, good question, Prateek. But
Sure.
I will always leave this to each company will treat differently, because say almost 48 or 50 companies are there in insurance company, and if you include reinsurance company, each company will have their own way of looking at providing safety of their employees.
Sir.
Indian market has not been litigant, but one thing also you should appreciate that many state governments have already said that if you die by COVID, they will pay you substantial amount. So that's a separate matter. What I'm trying to say, this is a good question, but each company will have to provide a safe situation. The best part, which I personally feel as an insurer and a practicing insurer, this lockdown has made it very clear to all insurance company how to survive when you are not physically available to serve the customers. Digital platforms are already doing at least 70% of the work in the bank. Insurance companies, you know that LIC policies are being renewed, auto policies are being renewed, health policies are being renewed. So each company has reason to this occasion that they will have to provide service if digitally or online. So that's a positive development for the insurance industry. I personally feel there is always an opportunity when you have a weakness. The weakness of staying in the office or staying in the house has brought a opportunity for the companies, and this is going to be a strength for the insurance industry. So I personally look forward that each company will provide safe situation, and the client, why client? Even a customer can go for a claim. So that's again coming back to Prateek, you know very clear that some companies will honor such claims and some companies will not honor. They will go for litigation.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely, sir. Sir, Mr. Nayak, sir, you wanted to add something, sir?
Yes, I have gone through a report from the Lloyd's market. In this scenario of working from home, they have mentioned that their working staff is no longer engaged in work on the underwriting floor of the main building, but they have got remote centers, and people are controlling the normal business. But the process is slow, and therefore they have to concentrate on renewal of existing clients rather than going for new clients. So naturally, there is some limitation.
Mr. Nayak, I have a divergent view. Look at Indian market. Indian market is 83% personal line, 17% is commercial line. Commercial line is always difficult to manage because you have to underwrite there. Whereas in impersonal line, both health and auto, which is the bread and butter of Indian industry, that can be taken care.
Yeah.
And you remember even the Mumbai flood, when the floods, insurance company rose to the occasion of to provide service to the companies, commercial line companies also.
I get
it. Again, there may be slow, but this is an opportunity for the insurance companies. And the lawyers will also raise to that occasion today or tomorrow.
I also have, Afzal, thank you for connecting with us. I have an opinion from Mr. Saumindranath Ganguly, Bhargav Trivedi, Niharika Arora, Ravinder Singh ji is there. Of course, Mr. Mendiratha he's interested in enrolling for a risk management course. Could someone guide me beyond this webinar? I'm sure, sir, if you could get in touch with any of our panelists beyond this, they'll be able to help you out. And thank you, Chandrakant Mishra ji, for being with us here at this moment. Mohammad Rafi is there. Manoj Pandey ji is one of our colleagues there with us. Vineet Kumar, Sanjay Jha. Oh my God, Ganesh Iyer ji, one of our members of RMAI. Now, sir, you see, at this point, sir, I just wanted to add one more thing that we've had pandemics in the past as well, sir. If you remember, Spanish flu was there. Then, of course, the Ebola, the AIDS, SARS, and now COVID-19. You see, what is most worthwhile is that with each such incident, our resilience has been improving. We have improved now, and that is clearly visible in handling of the COVID-19 situation in the present context. Now, if that is so, and that as we had mentioned, the Wimbledon was a typical example where people had taken the pandemic cover for the last 17 odd years. Balaji, do you think that this cover of pandemic should be mandatorily be available to all the policies going forward?
Policies?
Yeah.
No, I mean, again, it's up to individual insurers, their appetite for this cover. Unless, like, I think we already, when my microphone was having a problem, we already discussed about the pool, right? So unless there's some kind of a pooling arrangement, but otherwise, individual insurers would have their own appetite for this.
Mr. Naik, sir, you wanted to say something?
Yes, I have gone through some information from Japanese market where the coronavirus claims have come to a halt. There is no further development. But the suspension of Tokyo Olympics because of this pandemic will create an event cancellation loss recovery situation. So it justifies. In Indian market also, IPL cricket matches could not be held. So event cancellation are still necessary for big events where insurers can take over the liability in such cases.
Fair enough, sir. In fact, I have a question from one of our alumni, Siraj Dudekela. He wants to understand as to if there are any talks happening in the reinsurance market in aspect of having a pandemic pool or a regional pandemic pool. Siraj, just to update you, initially when we started off the discussion, we did talk about the creation of a pandemic pool by the government of India. So that is one development that is there. I think probably you would have missed out on that. But since you had specifically mentioned the question, therefore I thought it to raise it at this stage. I also
like one question.
Sir.
Yeah, this question is from Ms. Rama Dahel from Nepal.
Mhm.
The question is, if reinsurers are excluding pandemics, does it mean that forming pool is the only solution? And will that interest reinsurers?
Sir, I think this topic was specifically discussed by Mr. Naik and Mr. K.K. Mishra. Having said that, sir, K.K. Mishra, sir, can you just go over it again for the benefit of our viewers, sir?
About the pool.
Yes, sir. Is it the only way out, sir?
Look, at the end of the day, what is pool also? Pool is, you say, each insurance company participate in the pool. And look at, let's go back to the terrorism pool in India. When it started, half of the companies were not participating. Today, the terrorism pool rewards each shareholders. So pool is one of the situation, particularly Indian market. It's a situation which I personally feel the regulator will also work for that. That's a solution for Indian market. Going forward, whether reinsurance market will like to create a pool or not, I can't comment about that. Mr. Naik is the right person. But I personally feel Indian market already is talking about catastrophic pool also. So let's see that what is the will of the government, because one thing you should appreciate, Prateek, that the government of India had changed the scenario of general insurance in India because of, say, whether you like it or don't like, their insistence on universal health has created a difference in Indian market. And same thing with the what you call agriculture insurance. So I personally feel as a consumer or as well as an insurer, I feel the pool is way forward to look in all catastrophic losses including pandemic losses.
So, Mr. Naik, sir, please, if you could just
Yes,
supplement what sir was
according
talking
to
about.
me, the pool is required because of two specific reasons. Conventional reinsurance markets do not give protection for pandemic claims coverage. Therefore, insurers have to satisfy the policy holders or the reinsured demand rising after the losses. So, in the situation, they have to take care of two situations. The rate cutting competition among insurers should be avoided. And this can be done by creating a market pool with a uniform rating levels agreed by all the pool members. And again, coronavirus claims are aggregation of small losses. So normal excess of protection is also not possible as it is in the case of terrorism too. Therefore, in case of US provision, which we will discuss very shortly after the question, there is an aggregate loss, aggregate loss excel protection created by the facility. So a pool can be in the better medium to have higher, adequately good premium levels and adequate range of protection.
Fair enough, sir. In fact, Shishir Sandeepan has asked this question about force majeure, which we have already talked about. I still have questions coming in. Mr. Bhargav Trivedi asks a question about BI losses to hotels that we've already taken care of that. Now let's see, Mr. Kushal Kalanoria. He is a CA, budding investor. What do you think the insurance sector's share prices will be in 3 to 5 years given the penetration? Sir, I think we can take this question offline because this is way beyond the scope of our discussion here today. Mr. Sethi has inquired, SK Sethi, why no speaker from a foreign reinsurer? Sir, it was slightly difficult to get them at such a short notice. But having said that, we have ensured that we have the communication coming in from the client side, which is the brokers, the prominent brokers who have been handling the foreign reinsurers as such. They are here to have a discussion with us. We've already taken care of Rama Dahal's question. And now let's see. What else do we have? There's another question by Mr. Jacob. Jeffrey Jacob says, will the psychology of the Indian consumer change post-COVID-19 in regards to the insurance policies? I think, sir, this is a fact that the psychology will change. But having said that, I'll take it up with Vivek. Vivek, Mr. Jacob has a question as to will the psychology of the Indian consumer change post-COVID-19 in regards to the insurance policies? How do you react to that?
I personally feel that it will change and it has to change. And every time after a major event of like this, catastrophic event like this, people have tendency of buying that cover very frequently. Look at the reaction after flood claims. Look at the reaction after the earthquake claims in Nepal, especially. No one was buying those covers after the incident happened. At the moment, every day I get 10 inquiries asking for support on COVID-19 covers. So everyone after an incident happens are after seeking that coverage. It becomes difficult. As Mr. Krishna rightly said, Federal has been buying cover for 17 years. So that is why it has been, they have been able to continue with it. But if I go now and I feel goes and ask the cover for a pandemic, they will not get it. So it is a long process for which you have to build on, and then if at all something goes wrong, you get compensated for it.
Fair enough. In fact, I think we are just about running short of time because I have questions coming in from Jugal Gaur. I have questions coming in from Shekhar, Manoj Saraf, Syed Ahmed. You know, all of you all who have been, Chandana Singh has sent us a compliment. Thank you very much, Chandana, for being there with us. You see, the fact remains that a topic like this can be debated and discussed, throughout the day. Having said that, this was one of our first attempts at getting hold of a panel like this and throwing questions to them, not only from my side, but from the side of the viewers and the people who were listening to the entire discussions. Having said that, my sincere apologies to those people whose questions we could not take because of paucity of time. Having said that, we will definitely be back with more questions, more time, and definitely people with better experience than the combined experience of all 5 of us here sitting together. Now, before I wind up, I would just like to place on record the appreciation that the entire team sitting here, including the panelists, have for the Risk Management Association of India, in particular, Rakesh and Shyam Agarwalji, and last but not the least, the viewers whose questions have been taken up and the viewers whose questions could not be taken up. Thank you very much for staying with us. We will definitely be back with next edition. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
Yeah, I hope this was a wonderful session, wonderful panel discussion. So there were some audio issues, which I hope is a part of our challenge during lockdown due to network issues.
Yes.
So maybe we can work upon it. But I would like to thank Mr. Mishra, Mr. Balaji, Mr. Nayak, and Mr. Vivek for their wonderful insights. And special thanks to Mr. Prateek for excellent moderation. Thank you.
Mr. Rakesh, before I leave,
A large number. And tomorrow we have a session on business continuity and resilience by Mr. Roop Kumar, CRO, SBI Life. So request everyone to join tomorrow, and we would be keep on organizing this sort of panel discussion in future also. So,
Sir, I think Mr. K.K. Mishra had a point.
yeah, please.
only request I'll make to all the audience. Mr. Rakesh is doing a wonderful job. I only request the people who are not the member of RMI, they should go for it. I'm as a risk manager of 40 years, I personally feel that if you are in insurance industry, you must understand, improve your knowledge of risk management. So RMI is the best platform. That's all I can say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mishra.
Thank you.
Sir.
Yeah, Vivek, Mr. Nayak wants to say something.
Yes, I recall the famous remarks by President Kennedy in 1960s when he said that our problems are not God-made, they are man-made, and they are not beyond the reach of the solutions of man. So let us be optimistic. And optimism is the best way of approach to solve the problems.
Yeah.
And we are all doing the same thing today because the seminar is there to create optimism and to remove pessimism.
Definitely.
That's what I feel. Thank you very much for all the opportunity.
Thank you.
And I just wanted to add that it's a very great effort by RMI in these conditions.
Yeah, you're right.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Rakesh.
So thank you, everyone. Now we'll close down the session and we'll meet again tomorrow. And maybe in next week also we have a panel discussion on life insurance and health insurance also. On Saturday we have a panel on health insurance where Professor Chaturajya would be moderating.
Abhijit Chaturajya and Manoj Pandey will handle.
And on Sunday we have a session on life insurance where Professor Manoj Pandey would be moderating. So would request everyone to join those sessions also, and we would be love to get your more feedbacks on our email ID, or you can visit our website for the feedback. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Camera off.